copied some experiments from a professor who has done a lot of research to this subject. Well, and he investigated on certain areas for the disabled runners and able-bodied runners who is in advantage, and those areas were the swing time, the contact length, the ground reaction force, leg stiffness, and the energy efficiency. Well, the swing time is like how much a runner is in the air, so between he's on the ground and then he makes a step, so he flies a bit and then he lands on the ground again. Well, the able-bodied runner was in advantage when it comes down to the swing time, and the contact length is how much time the runner spends on the ground. So if he can go up very quickly and is not so long and doesn't spend much time on the ground, but he can put a big force on the ground, then he has an advantage. Well, the disabled runner was in advantage when it came down to the contact length. Also with the ground reaction force, that's a bit the same. So what I already explained is how much force you put on the ground when you want to come up or make a step. Then the leg stiffness. The leg stiffness allows the runner to variate in how long his step is. And
yeah, if your leg is stiffer, then you will go faster, but
your frequency will go up.
Yeah, but if your leg is too stiff, you won't be able to walk at all. So you need to find the optimum.
Yeah, because
stiffness.
if it's too soft, you will bend in a lot, and will make long steps, but your frequency won't be very high because you have to wait until you can make your next step.
So by a prosthetic, you can you can make the stiffness in the leg, but a valid runner can't do
Can
that.
vary, yeah, but he
So-
can variate in the leg stiffness.
Yeah, he can variate, but the disabled runner can't variate by itself. You need to adjust it in the prosthetic.
Yeah, and that's very difficult for to decide what's the optimum between the frequency and the length of the step for the leg stiffness in a prosthetic limb. Well, and last but definitely not least, the energy efficiency. Well, as we already said, the prosthetic of the disabled runner is in advantage in this area because his legs do not get tired, and
if you put some energy in the prosthetic, it will stay there.
yeah,
And
exactly.
so the disabled runner doesn't need more and more energy, and the able
keep
runner
running.
and the healthy runner needs to put more and more energy in his legs
If he wants to stay
faster,
in his tempo.
for his
Yeah.
tempo, or yes.
So he.
Because the disabled runner won't put more and more energy in his leg, that's an advantage for the disabled runner.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's it.
Well, conclusion.
The conclusion. Conclusion is really hard to say because they are either in advantage in certain areas. The disabled runner has advantage in like these experiments and results.
Yeah,
The
advantage in
disabled runner
certain
has
areas.
advantage in energy efficiency and
Ground reaction force.
ground reaction force
Contact length.
and contact length, and the valid runner has advantage in swing time and leg stiffness.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to say which, if a disabled person has advantage, you need to compare those
Compare those things.
things.
And we didn't have the equipment
No, by ourselves.
that were required to to decide
Yeah,
uh,
but
whether it's important or not.
yeah, so this will lead to more and more options to continue this research.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Well, why we chose this subject? Well, Stefan wanted to do something scientific because the next year he wants to start a scientific study in Delft, and I wanted to do something with sport. And this was the ideal option to combine these two things because it has something to do with sports, but also a lot with science. So that's why we chose this subject.
Yeah.
Procedure of our investigation.
Yeah, our procedure of investigation, we used a lot of web sites on information on the web, and we went to libraries for books and studied about the movement of the human body and the running and the working by the muscles. We have also interviewed a few people, so it was very interesting and very very fun.
Very much fun.
Yeah. Our sources, like I said, it's the web, but also Professor H. Oudijk and BBM Mental. Professor H. Oudijk is a professor in human.
At the VU.
At the VU in. He's a professor in human body movements. He studied this subject by himself with his.
And he had to acquire equipment.
Yeah, he had this.
That was required.
Yeah. So we interviewed him and he taught us a lot about it. And BBM Mental is a professional snowboarder. She's a disabled professional snowboarder, and she has also a prosthetic running leg. So we interviewed her about how she trained with it, how she walked with it, how it feels like, she taught us a lot about
just the way of living with
a
prosthetic limb
in the daily life and so on.
Okay.
I think that were the sources.
Well, what's the academic edition of our investigation? Well, as the technique improves more and more, the speed of disabled runners will go up and get very close to the speed of able-bodied runners. So that's why this is such an important question to find the answer to, because, well, if it is fair, then why shouldn't disabled-bodied contenders do not have the chance to compete against able-bodied runners? So that's why this investigation does have a key role, in science, and also this research gives entries to further investigations, because also in other sports the question becomes more and more valid if disabled-bodied runners should be able to compete against able-bodied runners, and that's why this investigation gives a lot of academic addition.
Yeah. Thank you for your attention and
any questions?
Any questions?